In this video, I'd like to give you 10 tips to make your presentations much better. My name is Matteo. I'm an entrepreneur and a bit of a presentation freak, and I've been studying presentations for a while. I put together a framework that I call Presentation Hero, and these 10 tips come exactly from there. Let's dive into it. My first tip for you is to know your audience. I'm not talking about knowing your audience by name or understanding your target audience. I'm talking about putting yourself in their shoes, trying to imagine how they would relate to your topic. It's really important for you to devote some time to this. And if you don't have time for anything else, devote all of it to knowing your audience. I'm imagining you as being professionals who have no time and the need to do a presentation tomorrow. And this is why I structure this presentation as the format you see. My second tip for you is to clearly state who you are. Now, it's very important that you're not a drone, you're not just a voice from the back of the room. You're a human being, and your audience has to understand this. Even better if they can also have a glimpse of what you do in life and what you are about, if they can describe your work or your passion in 2 or 3 words. The third tip I want to give you is to tell your audience why you're there. Tell them why you're passionate about the topic you're going to talk about. If you care and if you show them that you care, probably they will care as well. I hope I've done this in the introduction of this presentation. This leads me to my fourth tip, which is to tell your audience why they are there. To motivate them, you can do one thing. You can give them a glimpse of the advantage that they will get by following your presentation till the end. Another thing you can do is to explain the change that will happen in them if they follow through till the end. Now, I'm talking about change, but I didn't introduce this topic correctly to you. Let's go to the 5th point to analyze it much better. I suggest that you create a story around the transformation that you want to have in your audience. So first of all, there is a story involved, and stories are the way we relate to information and we deliver information to each other. So a story is not about fiction, it's about narrative, it's about the way you tell. And the transformation is something that needs to happen. So if your presentation doesn't elicit a transformation, doesn't give something new, a new insight, a new point of view, then maybe the presentation is not ready. Maybe you're not ready to deliver it. Maybe there is not enough material. Once you find that transformation, you can focus the story around it. You can focus the way that you will deliver the materials. And I'm not going to tell you how to do that. This is really up to you. But you have to know the end game. But you have to know another thing, and this leads me to tip number 6, that everyone in your audience will react differently. And that is totally fine. Your audience is also made of individuals who have their own individual lives and thoughts, and they have their own individual day, maybe not the best one. And it's okay for them to jump into your presentation at different moments. Maybe some jump in, while others jump out. Some people will be really interested from the first minute you start presenting, while others will actually be completely passive and look just for the tweetable content or maybe the 1 or 2 phrases that will make them look smart. So don't worry about that. Don't try to please everyone. I've formatted this presentation as 10 tips, and not everybody likes lists, and I know that. My 7th and most important tip is to clearly mark the most important concept that you deliver. Now, if you do this, what you are practicing is a story technique and a story point that is called the climax. Now, this sounds a harsh word and it's a Latin word, but to you has to mean just the summit, the summit of the mountain, the peak that you reach after a long walk. Now, when you're at this peak, you have many advantages. First of all, your audience is geared towards understanding this peak. and they know that they have to give you their full attention. The other really important thing that happens is that since we are natural story listeners, we know that after the peak there is a downslope. We know that the climax marks the end, the beginning of the end of your presentation. So the other thing is that the climax is very empowering. You're really happy to be there and you have everyone's attention at this point. This is the moment where you have to start to leave the stage. It's not where you start talking more, but you start talking less. So how do you leave the stage? How do you ease out of a presentation? Well, this leads me to tip number 8. Provide a summary. Provide a summary that helps your audience connect the dots of all the different topics that you went through in your presentation. And in this way, you will not only help them understand better, but you will help them memorize the material better, because this is a perfect state of increased attention to memorize and to go back and see all the journey that you've done with them, all the elements of your presentation together make meaning, but also make a lasting memory. Now, tip number 9 says that you should provide actionable to-dos. If you can provide those to-dos, these are really precious. What you're doing is you're giving a gift to your audience. You're telling them and you're giving them something that they can apply to their everyday life from that moment on. And this is really precious. So if you have this ability, end your presentation by giving those tips. You're allowed maybe to have a call to action. You're allowed to have a word of hope or of wisdom, but make it short. This is a time where everybody expects you to leave the stage, so do it. I'm going to leave shortly, but before I leave, I want to give you tip number 10. And tip number 10 is be comfortable with your material. Presentations shed a light on us, and if we are not prepared, it will show. If we are not confident with our material, it will show. So be courageous. In case somebody asks you a presentation and you're not ready, tell them. Spend more time studying your material. There is no presentation tip that will save you from not being knowledgeable enough on your topic. So these were my 10 tips, starting from knowing your audience, telling them who you are and why you're there, motivating them by telling them why they are there and why they should listen, going on to constructing a story around a transformation, understanding that the relationship with your audience will not be always ideal, that everyone will react differently, knowing that you have to mark your high point, and that from the moment that you mark your high point, you have to start to go downhill. And to go downhill, you can provide a summary and actionable to-dos. But the most important of all, you need to know your topic. So this was a glimpse into Presentation Hero. Presentation Hero is much more than these 10 tips. And I invite you to join me on a journey to discover how Presentation Hero can be useful to you. To do that, you just need to subscribe to a free mailing list. I promise to be on topic. So I will not talk about other stuff, just presentations. I promise not to be too many times in your inbox. So I want to send you an update maybe once every 2 or 3 weeks. And together with you, I'd like to explore this world a little bit more and also gather your feedback. So this is my invitation and this is my hope for you. And I wish that you enjoyed this video and hope to see you soon. Thank you for watching.